Welcome to another episode of Cold Brew Conversations. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Cold Brew Conversations. We're here with our friend Patrick Curry, the president of Fullerton Tool Company, where he's going to tell us a little bit about what Fullerton does for the advanced manufacturing industry and how he's training for jobs of the future. And I'm excited to have you, Patrick. So grab a cup, fill it up, and let's get this conversation started. How are you doing today, Patrick?
Well, great. Here up in Michigan, where we had a little snow the other day, and so we use Yeti cups here in Michigan because we got to keep our cold brew, which is actually a hot coffee this morning, hot, or cold in the afternoon. So,
is it ever to where like you can go outside with a hot cup of coffee and then like throw it in the air and then it's frozen before it hits?
Oh yeah, we had some temps like that this winter, so yeah, it definitely can do that. It's pretty crazy actually. There's some really neat YouTube videos online that show that. It's pretty cool. Take a hot bucket, a pot of water, and throw it up in the air, and it freezes up and instantly. So it's pretty cool.
Well, next winter we'll have to make a trip up there just for that experiment.
Yeah.
So I really want to tell our audience about who Fullerton is. It's more than just a brand. It's a family brand that I'm really curious to know more about. Can you tell me about Fullerton Tool?
Fullerton Tool is a family-owned business, third generation ownership. So my cousin Matt and I are now co-owners. My grandfather started the business in 1942. He started out as a farmer, actually, just a mile north of where I'm currently sitting, actually, from our new plant. And he started out as a farmer, but wanted to start a company. So he started several different companies, and one that really was successful was a toy manufacturer. But then the war started. So he got a letter from the War Production Board, said, hey, using too much metal, you got to use it towards the war effort. So that's when he went from toys to tools, and he started manufacturing solid carbide round cutting tools like this, Fullerton Tool end mill. This one has a Heimer safe lock on it, but used in the aerospace industry. We do a lot of step drills and special tools. There's a step drill that we manufacture for the automotive industry, a lot of step drills or drill chamfer, back chamfer tools. Through that, generations, my grandfather, then my uncle and my dad ran the operation. My dad and my uncle sold the business to my cousin Matt and I, and thankfully when they did that transition, they worked with us to where we could still invest in our people, invest in new technology and equipment, as well as acquisitions. So in 2019, my cousin Matt and I bought a company called Carbro USA, and they manufacture really cool aerospace tooling like this drill reamer tool. This is probably the biggest one I think I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, that's solid carbide?
That's solid carbide, yep.
Oh, wow.
And
that's a nice
pricey
chunk of metal. They also
manufacture a lot of routers. So really cool aerospace routers for carbon fiber out there. And then they do a lot of the threaded shank type tooling that you see out there, which is really very unique aerospace structural tools. They usually use them in like a Quackenbush unit, yep. But really cool tooling. Like I said, threaded shank type tooling. So it was an acquisition for us to add to our portfolio of products. And the other thing we've done recently, Greg, is we've combined all of the companies, the Curry family of businesses, the Curry Industries, kind of like my grandfather started. So we're promoting endurance carbide too, and they manufacture, unique burnishing type rolls or dies, very amazing finishes and tight tolerances.
Oh, those are, I think, aren't like something that round carbide used to make like cans, like aluminum cans.
Yeah, can tooling. This is a mandrel basically that they actually they diamond coat it and use it for finishing real tight finishes in the grinding applications. So it's got a carbide. That's actually a carbide threaded shank. So that's a very challenging tool to manufacture.
Oh my God.
And then of course a lot of the go-no gauges, ring gauges that you see in the shops It's, carbide will last 30 times longer, and you can hold a lot tighter tolerance, triple X tolerance on that. So it's do a lot of very unique special tooling. So it's fun because both my cousin Matt and I have a passion for the industry. We love this industry. It's an exciting industry. We get to go into different manufacturing plants and see how great American manufacturers get it done.
I think it's so cool. It's something that I've always admired because it's like, we're a family-owned company, and how cool would that be down the road? Like, my son buys the company from me, and that's my retirement plan. Like, heck yeah. I mean, that's a story that you don't hear very often. That's like that you share the same passion with both your father and your grandfather. So, and
Matt has a daughter, my cousin and I have a daughter, and I mean, our goal would be love to have it go on to the fourth generation, and I think that our daughters would be fantastic if they ever become interested. I'm hoping they do, because it would be really cool to have the women take over and take us to that next generation.
There's a global presence behind you. Can you talk about, why would you acquire something in California?
Well, we didn't stop there either, Greg, but it was something you're like, wow, acquiring a manufacturing plant in California, that's crazy. But it was just they had a different customer base than we had, so it was a really natural fit. They also had a different portfolio of tooling, and then they were a family-owned company, so a lot of synergy there. The great craftsmen, long tenure employees that are really talented, and it was just a good fit for us. So that was the main reason, is it added to our portfolio of products, and it was a good synergy and fit, cultural fit, right? Culture is king, in my opinion. You have to have a good company culture. And then the other thing we just recently did too in California, which was we bought another company. It was Goering's former regrind facility in Huntington Beach. So we bought all the equipment.
How cool.
Hired a few other former employees, and now we have Fullerton HB. So we can do regrinds of all of our products, alter some of our standards there. It's a 5-day delivery there, ground. So now we have a facility where we can regrind all of our tooling. So that's been a big push for us, is customers love to have the original manufacturer regrind the tool like new, so they get 100% performance.
Oh, well, that's the service. Because I'd like to pick your brain about some of the services you offer on top of these products. What is JIT? I saw it on your website.
Well, my uncle started that, just-in-time services. So back in the early 80s, actually, he developed a process with our manufacturing team to do 24-hour reamers. And now we're doing them same day up to 11 o'clock. But a lot of medical manufacturers, I know a lot of your customers down in Florida love the 24-hour reamer service, because we do it in straight flute, right-hand spiral, right-hand cut, or left-hand spiral, right-hand cut. And we actually size it to within a tenth, or 2/10, whichever your requirement is, to whatever diameter you need. So a lot of the medical guys that are using Swiss lathes and doing quick turn jobs, they need that tooling immediately, and they can get a precise reamer, run between centers, that's going to get the job done and get it done right. So it's a great service. We're doing end mills in 3 days, uncoated.
Wow.
5 days coated. We're doing carbide saws sized in 24 hours. So a lot of great JIT or fast services that are really helping customers get their jobs done in a timely manner.
Say someone in the audience that's thinking about a trade. When you say tenth, can you describe what a tenth is to someone that might not know what it is?
Well, the best chart I've ever seen, and we've got it plastered in our inspection departments, is a size of a human hair is typically 0.003 or 3 thou. With our new nano Roll-O-Matic, we're making a 3 thou 9/10 diameter tapered end mill, the size of a human hair. It is 30 times smaller than that. I mean, it's just unbelievable how much smaller that tenth is. So it's smaller than a human hair. So the picture we have in inspection is a human hair is basically about this size in the diagram, and then a speck is a tenth that's listed on that same diagram. So you can, it's like a pencil poke in that same drawing. It's how small difference it is between a human hair in a tenth. So, I mean, these guys, you breathe on the tool too much and it's going to be out of tolerance, right? So
Right.
we have temperature controlled coolant so we can maintain that temperature. And it's challenging to hold those tight tolerances. It really is. We have amazing people that do a phenomenal job for us.
Well, I know you're on the cutting edge of technology, especially when you're talking about, just to put it in perspective, like when I teach about carbide, I always explain like you got to have something harder than what you're cutting. So I talk about butter. I asked like, especially younger students, would you cut butter with a knife made of butter? And then it just kind of puts it in perspective because carbide is so incredibly hard to change and machine, and that's where it really takes skill and precision. I know that much.
It's you can only grind it with diamond impregnated diamond wheels, and the precision that these equipment today, the CNC equipment and technology, the inspection equipment, everything coming together, the programming, we're able to create tooling that, like this end mill is variable helix, variable index, and it's designed specifically for titanium, and the geometry, the edge hone, everything is precise. I mean, it's got to be, because if you have inconsistency, I mean, they're machining a F-35 titanium structural part that if they scrap it, that's $25,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 of material scrap. So you got to make sure the tooling's right. And the other thing is, you and I might be flying in that plane someday that's for a 787 or 737 or Airbus 320, and you want to make sure the parts they're making are accurate and in good shape, and
Right.
have to worry about flying.
I remember teaching tolerance one time. It was like, imagine if airplane manufacturers didn't have it, and they're like, it looks good.
My neighbor and I, we putting up a fence, and the old saying we used to have when we were working together was good enough for who it's for. Well, you can't say that in the aerospace industry or any industry in manufacturing, really. You've got to be precise, you got to be consistent, and the quality is number one.
That kind of makes me want to move to the next topic, because I know that you have a lot of tenured employees that have been there a long time, fine-tuning that skill. What are you doing to prepare for the jobs of the future and your future talent?
Well, that's, Greg, something that's been a real passion of mine. I worked a lot of summers in the shop with a lot of great, talented people, and I gained so much knowledge from them. I love seeing them when they come back after they retire, just because I learned so much from them. And when I started working the shop floor, I realized that there's a lot of people who are going to be retiring, and they started to. And last year we had 11 people retire.
11?
Next 5 to 10 years, I mean, on average, we're going to have 3 to 5 retire per year. And for a smaller company like us, trying to compete with the big boys in our community, the GMs, the Dow DuPonts, the HSCs, next years, we have to really, just to get it engaged, because in our community efforts to improve the future workforce, because the skilled trades, getting involved with FIRST robotics program, almost every high school has one. Greg, you've been really good proponent of that down in Florida.
Yep.
And it's imperative you support them financially. Maybe you can give them some tooling or engineering support, whatever it takes to help these programs. So recently we've had a new STEM center, actually building built at Hemlock High School, where they actually host 4 different schools at this building. Because that's the other thing, is a lot of these FIRST robotics don't have space to build the robots and actually run them to fine tune them. And so it's They have a CNC tool boss, Haas machine. They have a lathe, and they're actually making the parts for the robot. It's so cool. The other thing is the Saginaw Career Complex. We actually got a millage in our community to help fund that program. And that program does everything from welding to CNC, advanced manufacturing. And with that money, they've got 3D printers now. They've got cobots. They've got virtual reality, augmented reality. They've got CNC equipment. So it's like a brand new facility. It's really exciting. And that's like high school juniors and seniors, and they get to job shadow. They get to get a taste of what's out there and what it's like to do some of those jobs that are out there. But they even have culinary school, nursing. It's all these different programs. I think there's 20 some different programs, 21 different programs they have, which is really cool.
That's pretty awesome because, just getting someone interested, especially like my story, I, farm raised ish. And I was told if I wanted to go to college, that was about the only way I'd get out of poverty. No one ever presented it as a trade, like, hey, it's okay to go to a trade school. It's actually probably better for you. So like, what are you doing besides, like, how do you get them into FIRST Robotics in the first place?
And well, there's the Legos too, that the younger age, but basically just getting awareness of it. I think a lot of parents don't even realize it. And then even understanding that there's really good jobs. So what we did, and I just have one example, but one of the things we did, Greg, is we created these little playing cards, and this is a CEO one. But we have
I want one.
one, and then it's got the wage per hour, job description. But we made it a whole set of these cards, and a lot of them, marketing position, logistics, accounting, CNC operator, shipping department. So every card has a picture of someone from that, in our community, a little job description, and what they what they make per hour, and really good benefits and everything else. So just trying to get the word out there to the parents, because a lot of them are, like you said, college. I mean, they're pushing it pretty hard. And just on a personal note, my nephew had a pretty rough go this last year, and he was really struggling in school, especially with it being remote. Right, it's been really challenging. Was able to get him into the welding program at the career complex, and he's now excelling in school. He's actually going to graduate on time. He loves welding. Wow. He's very talented. He's got a career. Once they get in there and see the opportunities, I've took him to a couple local manufacturers a week ago, dropped off his resume, and his eyes were like wide open. He's like, wow, this is so cool. We went into one facility locally. They're making trains, and they're welding the shells together. It's just a freight train. I mean, how cool is that? And then they had a military tank they're fabricating as well. So really cool stuff that right in his backyard.
Do you like the show you're watching and wish you could have your own? Now you can with myvideomax.com, where we produce real raw content to get to the heart of the message. And we want to help with yours. Email info@myvideomax.com to get started. I look at manufacturing and it's like endless possibilities. Like there's nothing really that can't be made if you think about it long enough. And just giving that opportunity to someone that didn't know it existed, and just kind of seeing those light bulbs open up, that's what really gets me going. That I guess you could call it delayed gratification.
Yeah, the best tours, we love giving tours at our facilities, and the best one I had was 3rd and 4th graders, and Beth was actually there in marketing. I usually have like marketing and web developers come in and talk, and these kids ask a million questions. The high school kids are usually doing this, right? They're looking at their phone and not paying attention, don't ask a whole lot of questions. Exactly. And the key is these young kids, they're just excited. Their eyes are wide open. They're asking tons of great questions, and it was awesome. My grandfather is a famous pose in one of his pictures like this. So we had the whole group of kids do the Grandpa Morgan pose, which is pretty cool. And but I had a couple of the boys and girls leaving. They go, Mr. Curry, thanks for the tour. I want to work here someday. So if you can get them young, awesome. Get them excited about the opportunities. I think that's the key, is awareness, right? Getting kids out to understand what's available.
Well, kids have a natural way to detect BS. So it's like, if they're genuinely interested, they'll tell you. And I think that goes a lot with your, you were saying earlier in the conversation, your culture. You can tell if you can thrive in a culture, and you have to be able to jive with those people retiring, because they're the ones with the knowledge you got to try to suck up. Yeah. So it's just cool seeing that, because once you get them hooked, you got to have a progression for them, because, knowing that you have a structured path. I know you said like first Lego leads into FIRST Robotics one day, which could lead into your apprenticeship. And I know that's something too that you're really passionate about. Can you tell me more about your apprenticeship program?
Yeah, we started 30 years ago a journeyman's program, an accredited journeyman's program with Delta Community College. So we've most recently did some tweaks to the curriculum, kind of updating it, right? Because it was about 30 years old. So
Mhm.
the team did a phenomenal job working with them. One of the things at Delta, they actually have a Rollomatic, CNC Rollomatic grinder at this community college. So not
Ah,
only do they have an
whoa.
Akuma lathe, they have a 5-axis Haas, they have all kinds of Haas's, VF2s, lathes, mills. It's
That
this
sounds
now
like a
they have
real deal
grinders.
shop.
So the students are actually making their own tools and breaking their own tools, which is really cool.
That's a
The
real deal
journeyman
shop.
program is encompassed with Delta Community College. We have a curriculum together, and we actually, once we hire, I think we're up to 9 employees right now going through it. So we work with them to where
Wow.
they can get paid while they go to school. We pay for their school. If they get an A, it's 100% paid. A B is 80% paid. A C is 70% covered. So they can finish their
Awesome.
journeyman and get their certificate while they're working for us. So it's a great program. I think it's important, Greg, and you know this too in your community, is that there's such a need for talent that these employees, and we've done it. You hire them right when you get exposed to them in a job shadow, and they don't finish their course. Well, that doesn't do our community colleges, any good, right? Because they only get one semester of payment, and it doesn't do us good. We want them to finish it. So I think it's important that these kids get that accredited certificate.
Manufacturing never stops. It's a very secure job. Like, when you think about what happened just during quarantine, like manufacturing mobilized. It's like you guys had to pump out respirators. Were you involved in any like efforts to help get respirators, masks,
Oh
those type
yeah,
of things?
Michigan. Goes back to World War II, right? The war effort, and we had to stop making cars. I think we only made 351 vehicles during the war because we converted everything over to making airplanes and tanks and guns and whatever it took. So our community was in the state of Michigan was probably the leader in that. So same thing with the pandemic. I mean, there's a need, and we said, what do we got to do? So a lot of us converted whatever it took. We were essential manufacturers, so we were in business. But I recall a lot of our medical customers, picking up in orders and specifically for the ventilators. I know they were, hey,
Yeah.
we need these saws, we need these reamers right now. This is for components that are needed right now. So we had to jump through hoops and make things in 24 hours, whatever it took. And a lot of great manufacturers converted to making PPE equipment. General Motors did. I mean, big manufacturers, Vantage Plastics here did a great job. So a lot of people, next year, automotive was 3D printing, PPE equipment. We had one company does Duralast. They do roofing. They converted to making PPE equipment and just overnight. And there were some manufacturers that were shut down because they weren't essential. They actually sent employees over and worked with the manufacturers that were open making PPE and made
Cool.
products. So it was really cool.
I mean, it shows that skills pays the bills.
That's right.
Eh. No, but in all seriousness, it's a career path that I really think that can lead to more. You can go into engineering if afterwards. Some of the best engineers I've seen went through a journeyman program, and they actually have an understanding of how it gets put together, and they're not just like, I think this fits. Some coffee spilled on me just now, but hopefully that caught for dramatic effect.
No, you're right on, Greg. I mean, because of your schooling, you were a better salesman, right? When you were selling for Fastenal, and a lot of our best distributor salesmen or our best direct salesmen have that hands-on ability and understand, cranking the cranks and measuring and reading a blueprint and how to use a mic and a caliper. And I mean, they're great salespeople, and then a lot of them are much better engineers, right?
Yep.
We've actually embraced Delta's fast track program. Whitney Miller, one of our sales ladies who's in California right now, was trained here at our facility, worked in several different departments, inspection, engineering, quoting, customer service, shipping.
Awesome.
We sent her to Delta to get that, advanced training. So she's out there selling, and she does a phenomenal job, and she really goes back to that training that she got to give her the confidence to sell our parts.
Well, let's talk about her, because how do you find the right candidate for your company? What are you looking for in an employee?
Well, I think attitude's key. And quite frankly, Greg, the one thing we always do in an interview is we list our core values, right? Our 5 Ps. It's about people. We care about each other, our community, and our customers. Performance, we're a performing company. We've really got to perform. We want people with principles, integrity, and character. And we're looking for people with passion too. I'm a passionate guy. I love this industry, and we don't want someone in here going, with not much excitement, not really excited about coming to work. So we want people that are passionate. They want to improve themselves and improve our company. So all these things, coming together. We're a precision manufacturer. That's important too. So they got to understand, like you said, measuring intents, and understand how important it is that you make a good, take pride in that product that you manufacture. And it's cool, because when you see where the end results are and what those products are being used to make, it's pretty cool industry to be in.
I'm glad you said that, even without prompting. I can't wait to show this to my students, because I'm always telling them, like, look, your attitude is really what's going to put you over the top. If you walk in there and you're honest, because it puts you over the top. So I'm just really happy to just hear that affirmation, man.
Absolutely. And I do think, the attitude's king. And I think that, just having that right attitude, the positive attitude, that get her done attitude is critical. We need a sense of urgency too. Our customers can't wait forever.
Right.
One of the cool things I think we've done too is not just community colleges, but also the university, working, getting interns. And one of our interns has been a 9-year employee. And most recently, he's been working in our R&D lab, and we've got some cool things I wanted to show you from the R&D lab.
I love hearing those words, Patrick.
Yeah, Devin Function is in charge of the R&D lab. We have a Makino P65. So we do a lot of product development, new product development. We do a lot of customer. Right now, we've got a customer project to help them machine some pockets in titanium. So we're developing the program to make it really efficient. But one of the tools we utilize is this spike tool. So this spike tool is got a sensor built right into the holder. The sensor, basically, you can measure when you're in the cut. You can get live data of the torque, of the thrust. It even measures heat in the spindle. So I'm getting all kinds of data instantly while it's in cut. And various materials, and that data can be utilized when I change a feature in the geometry of the tool, or I tweak the hone or coating. I can see the results, right, and see it instantly. So that's been a great tool. The other thing we do a lot of is we use this tool here to measure heat in cut. So this is from Milwaukee, and it's just a simple tool that we can zone in on the heat measurements.
Can you put it on yourself and see how hot you are, Patrick?
Yeah, when I'm in an argument with somebody, I could zap them in but we don't use it to check temp in the plant. We have a different, but this is something that's been, my sales team and we're struggling getting into plants, right, and helping customers. Right. That's what we do. We solve issues, right, and try to help them save money at the spindle. So they convinced me to buy these augmented reality glasses.
How cool.
And I can ship these to a customer. They can throw them on, and actually these are safety glasses. They can give us that live footage with the customer, and basically we can sit there, help them go over their program on the CNC machine, look at their setup, and maybe help solve some issues virtually instead of being there physically.
Wow, man. I'm really glad you brought that up, because so like COVID obviously you guys are a huge value add type sales company, and that was one of my questions. Like, how did you get around that, like that in-person actual troubleshooting? And you just answered the question for me, man.
Oh, it's not easy. Like I said, we love our R&D lab because people don't have time to test tools or improve process. Let us do it for you. We've got the capability. We have engineering team. We have the tooling right here. If I got to tweak a tool, what's cool, I bring the operator over. I said, see what's happening. Here's what I need you to do. He grabs the tool, goes back to the Roll-O-Matic or the Walters, tweaks the tool, bring it back, and I can develop and improve a process within a day or two versus weeks, right? You remember the days when you were selling, right? I mean, how long did it take you to test a product and solve a problem?
Oh, it was a good solid couple weeks. You had to set it up ahead of time. You had to communicate with programming. You had to go sit on the machine to get current state. And then you had to go convince the machinist that you're not going to like take their job, and then go run the tool and then have that increased efficiency, and then take that cost savings report and then pitch it to the boss and say, yeah, and then repeat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like you said,
process, man,
your improved process might reduce overtime, right? And that's the one thing that we struggle with in America is that craving for overtime. And that's why at Fullerton, we started a gain sharing program based on reducing the labor rate and then getting a bonus based on hitting, what for every percent below the break even point, we give our employees a percent bonus.
No kidding.
We do that monthly. And I think it's important that people do that in a manufacturing. Basically, you work less hours, make more dollars. So that's kind of the theme.
Man, it's the first time I've ever heard that actually in action, because it's been a concept. I've heard companies talk about it. So you actually pay bonuses for added performance and faster cycle times?
Absolutely. We have a break-even point. It's scheduled out. We also, to be able to make sure they still focus on quality and delivery, we have kickers in the bonus to double or triple if they hit their quality target and if they hit their on-time delivery target. So it's really driving everybody. They get to the board, the information boards, and they want to know where we're at. How are we doing performance rise and getting the product out the door? How are we doing for quality? And are we on time? So it just really keeps them focused on our customer and what they're looking for in a carbide tool supplier.
How do we tell someone to apply for a job at Fullerton Tool?
No, it's great. I mean, we've been blessed to get some people even from Florida. I actually got an employee from Florida and another one from California. So it's kind of nice. Yeah, definitely. If this gets out there, if you go to www.fullertontool.com, go to our career page, there's an application you can fill online. You can download your resume, and we would love to get a lot of people coming to us. I got a pretty funny text. I'll have to send it to you, but it was just perfect for this time right now with everybody needing employees. But there's a sign outside a manufacturing plant that says, "Now hiring long-haired freaky people." So if you're from my age group, you know the song. So I think that's very appropriate. Most of my fellow manufacturers are looking for anybody that has a willingness to jump into manufacturing industry. One of our best machinists, it was in 08, 09 during the downturn. We interviewed this young kid, and it was for a position, but then the downturn hit, and we weren't going to hire him, but he just showed up at work and didn't even know he was hired or not hired. He just showed up. So he started cleaning toilets and did whatever he could. And now 13 years later, he's one of our best operators, running a $250,000 CNC machine. So
that's awesome too, man. I'd love to talk to him. Well, on that note, my cup's empty, and I've really, truly enjoyed this conversation, Patrick.
No, me too. Loved it. And anytime you want to, hook up again in the future, be more than happy to engage and enjoy another cold brew or hot brew with you.
On that note, I'm not going to lean in because it shadows me. So I'm going to give you a Y5 from over here. Wireless high five. There's a lot of intensity coming. It just looks slow. It's so fast, it looks slow motion. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with what's brewing.